What is up, guys? Welcome back. Tonight, joining us, New Orleans Saints and Pelicans broadcaster, Erin Summers. Erin, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us, too.
Yeah, I'm doing great. It has been a very busy week. You know, you think when the season's over, as far as the Saints go, things are going to slow down a little bit, but Sean Payton threw us a curveball. And so it's been busier than expected. And then it's been a busy week with the trade deadline coming up for all the NBA tomorrow. So it's been a lot of activity going around.
Yeah, I can only imagine. We were supposed to have you on Monday, and then of course so much happened. Like as soon as you sent me that email, I was like, it's kind of obvious. Like we were sitting here like, no crap, that sucks.
Well, since you talked about Sean Payton, is he technically still part of the Saints organization, or is he free to talk about?
He is. I mean, he is stepping down. He is no longer with the organization. Obviously, he's still under contract. So if another team wanted him, then that is where all that would come into play. But yeah, he's really no longer a part of the organization in any other facet.
So if
Chris has ulterior motives.
Wait. Yeah, I'm getting there. So technically, if he takes a year off, does that void his contract?
It does not, because he is under contract through, I think, 2024. So there would still need to be some sort of compensation.
So the Cowboys would have to give up their 2024 draft pick in order for him to come to Dallas.
Just settle down right there.
Yes, there would be some things that needed to happen, some deals that would need to be made.
It's a very split household
for
over
the Saints to technically release him, right?
I'm the only Saints fan over here. My dad, my brother, they're all Dallas fans. So I'm always getting hassled. Sean Payton's coming to Dallas.
And my wife hates Sundays.
Yeah.
Now, Erin, just for those that don't know, can you just give a little bit of a detail, just exactly what you do for the Saints, what you do for the Pelicans, what you're involved with?
Sure. So I joined the organizations in August, and it's a kind of a unique situation because both the teams are owned by the same ownership group in Benson Enterprises, which is former Tom Benson and Gail Benson, who now has taken over the franchise. So I had the opportunity to work for both of the organizations because of that. And it's been a very cool opportunity. I am what they would call a team reporter for both. So I do at the time, it was a lot of Zoom interviews like this because of all of the COVID protocols, and they're very careful, especially in the NFL. They were pretty strict about what we were or weren't allowed to do as far as contact goes. But a lot of keeping up with the team, doing interviews, going to availabilities, practices when I can, doing pregame shows, postgame shows. I do radio broadcasts for the Pelicans, some TV for the Pelicans. So it's kind of whatever they throw at me. But it's been cool because on the Pelican side, at least I have full access, and I've been able to go to every practice and really get a very inside look at that team and the coaching staff and the players. So that's been a really cool part of the job.
That's really cool.
Now I got to interrupt for a second
awesome.
Because you know what, you're talking about the pros, but you did go to Chapel Hill, and then did you do some work for Duke University as well?
Yeah, I went to UNC. I love the Tar Heels, obviously Chapel Hill grad, and immediately went into work for the Triangle Sports Media. So I had to cover NC State, Duke, Wake Forest, and figure out how to not let my bias show and not get upset, or cheer or anything like that when it's a Duke Carolina game, especially. I grew to respect Coach K. I grew to respect that program and what he does. He's very good at his job. They've obviously produced a lot of great talent. A lot of former Duke players are with the Pelicans organization. So that's been fun. Some people that I was able to cover during that time, I've been able to see here as well.
See, the young people in this podcast don't realize the importance of the Duke-UNC rivalry matchup. I mean, when I was a young head, we used to run home and Saturday nights or Friday nights, whenever that game was scheduled, with Dickie V there, the Camden Crazies going nuts, or Dean Smith, wherever the game was played, everybody dialed into that game. Because back then, those teams were always ranked in the top 5.
I'm a little bit younger, so I remember like JJ Redick coming on, and then after post that. So yeah, a lot of
I don't
studs.
remember any of it. It's okay.
See, I go back to the Michael Jordan days. I go back to the Grant Hill days. I go back to the Bobby Hurley days. I go
Jeez,
way
we
back.
Get it. We get it. You're old. You're old. You're old.
Well,
Well, so my family's from the West Coast, and we moved here or to North Carolina when I was really young. And out there, it was, football, baseball, not a lot of college basketball. But moving to the Triangle area, the ACC country, my parents were like, man, I guess we got to pick a team and see what this is all about. And some of those players that you mentioned, and they picked Carolina as the team that we were going to pull for whatever reason. And then I ended up going there. So it kind of worked out. It was definitely fun growing up in Tobacco Road and dealing with that rivalry.
God, yeah. Like no one missed that. I mean, you could not even care who won that game, but that game was always on TV. It's just a great rivalry.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now working for New Orleans and the Pelicans, I feel like there's no better time to be like a reporter for a team, especially like a team like the Saints that might have a chance to go through rebuild, might not. With Sean Payton stepping down after 15, 16 years, Drew Brees retiring, and then the Pelicans, just getting CJ McCollum and possibly having a good group of guys now. I mean, that's got to be exciting to report so much different stuff going on.
Yeah, it's been, like I mentioned, it's been an exciting week. I think there was a lot of uncertainty, a lot of weird feelings for a lot of Saints fans that all they've ever known was Drew Brees and Sean Payton. And that was kind of what they grew up with. And that's what they've been watching for 15 years. But since I came in August, I wasn't as tied to what it has been.
Yeah.
And obviously growing up, you've watched you watch the Super Bowl, you remember the Katrina season, and you've seen what the Saints have been able to do over the past, decade. And it's nothing short of amazing what Sean Payton's been able to do with the franchise and to be able to put the Saints on the map the way that he has been really cool. But yeah, people are a little worried. People are a little, uneasy. Change isn't fun all the time. And you never know what you're going to get with something new. And so they kind of went with the Dennis Allen route, which is, it's kind of a lot of the same, which is good because they've built a great culture. The defense has been fantastic. They're going to bring in some help on the offensive side. And I think that they're going to kind of keep it rolling as is, make a few tweaks here and there. But I think things are in good hands. And some people wanted a big change, right? You mentioned the rebuilding, kind of throwing it all out and just doing it over. But if you have something that's been working and the players love, the former defensive coordinator, now head coach Dennis Allen, that, might as well kind of stick with it.
Absolutely.
Now, what's your protocol as far as breaking news? When you hear something, how do you know if you can rely on that source or not? Because in this household, like I listen to like Jane Slater when it comes to the Cowboys and, Ed Warder. My son, he's just strictly Ian Rappaport. That guy is golden and that's all he listens to. But how do you know if it's a legit story and that you can go out and break that? Because let's face it, what you say, there's probably a couple 100,000, if not more, people listening to what you're saying.
You saw that with Tom Brady too. They released it too early. And that was the whole thing.
Yeah, that's been different because I worked in local TV for a little while and freelance. So you were trying to develop relationships and network and try to get inside scoops on stories and players and things that were happening. But working for organizations, you kind of, it's all one. So the team reporters, the staff, everybody wants to be on the same page. Kind of, this is how we want the story to roll out. This is what we want to say. This is when we're comfortable reporting it. So for me, I might know something is happening, or I might be preparing for when it's going to be announced, but I can't say anything about it until it's officially released by our team.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of this weird thing where, it would be really cool to be like, hey, I know that this player's not playing tonight because he's not practicing and he's over there, on the massage table and they're wrapping up his ankle or whatever it is, but I can't say anything about it, especially because I'm not allowed to bet on anything.
I was just going to say
I'm not allowed to share information because of fantasy football and people that are placing bets like that. It's a huge no-no. So there's weird things that I can't do as a team employee that's different than what a typical reporter would be able to do.
Gosh, that's I never knew that, like the difference between her and maybe like an Ian Rappaport, someone that doesn't work officially for a team. That's really cool.
Definitely.
That's really
Did you expect to be doing this at when did this become a reality, I guess, for you, that you're like, oh, wow, I actually can be in front of these athletes. I feel like I am ready for this. When did it kind of become comfortable, I guess?
Well, growing up, I always loved sports. My dad, my mom, very avid like fans of different teams and everything like that. My dad kind of watches it all. My mom went to Oregon, so she's an absolute nightmare, like Oregon Ducks fan.
Oh man.
If she sees an O like anywhere, she'll track you down and ask you like who you are, why, whatever. So yeah, we just kind of grew up watching games, and I just was not athletically talented. Like I just am not. And my dad was, and he couldn't figure out, he had 3 girls, and he just couldn't figure out how to teach us to be better, right? He was like, why can't you run faster? Like, why can't you jump? Like, why can you not literally get off the ground? And I'm like, I don't know. That's just how I am. I don't know you can work on these things. Now I kind of understand that there's some things that you can get better at. Yeah. But then, yeah, I was like, what's another option to be around this? And so that's kind of when I started, even in college, really, it's like, this is what I want to do. And I was around the teams at Carolina and did a lot of the stuff on campus as far as student reporting goes and internships and everything. And it does take a little while to get comfortable and to be confident. And it's just kind of, I think a lot of it comes with the repetitions of being around it, getting comfortable, and then also, being prepared and knowing the information and doing your homework, especially as a female, trying to make sure that you know what you're doing and you've done all the work, so people don't have the opportunity to question your place there as well.
Well, what's funny is, like, when Ty and I started this, we never ever expected to have any athletes on at all. It was just going to be us talking sports and having fun with our friends. And then it started with the AAF when that broke apart, and then we started getting football players on, and then we started getting names like Michael Marti from the Saints. Then we started getting like Wade Phillips on, and then Hugh Jackson, and then Rob Ryan. And in the beginning, it was kind of intimidating to have these people on, and we were like looking at their bio and trying to get everything proper.
It's a good learning experience now, though.
But now it's like so natural. Like, we literally have like no notes for you at all. We just looked at a little bit of what you did, and we figured we'd just jump into it. But the only time we really messed up is I had one of my favorite radio stations on from Dallas, and I botched the name of their show.
I remember that.
It was the most embarrassing thing ever.
It happens though. It does. And honestly, right now, with this Pelicans team, one of our rookies, he literally makes fun of me and gives me a hard time every time he sees me, because in a podcast one time I said something about how he played for a long time in college. He played 4 years and he only played 3. It's a minor detail, but I was speaking more to, he has more experience because he's played longer. He played longer in college, and he gives me a hard time every time I see him. So you're going to make mistakes, and it's just natural that everybody does it.
100%.
Now, do you consider yourself a Pelicans and a Saints fan, or is this strictly a job for you? Like, if the Pelicans go out and do a deal, or do you kind of like, damn, why'd they do that? I know you can't say that, but are you like, man, you're going in the wrong direction? Like, I'm getting this buzz. This guy's available, but you're going for that guy.
Yeah, so this was crazy this year, because before working in professional sports, I covered it, but I was really more based in the ACC. So covering college sports, there's no trade. People don't leave in the middle of the season. It's unreal. And to be so close to the team the way that I was able to be able to talk to the players and see them every day, to find out that, a couple of the players are leaving, it was tough. It was a weird feeling that, just they find out and they're gone within 48 hours. They have to report and be at the next team. So it's definitely a different dynamic to cover it that way.
Yeah.
But I get it. It is part of the business. It is kind of what they signed up for per se, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't, kind of be, it's not, it's emotional for everybody.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I also understand, the end goal here is you want to make your team better. And I think that the Pelicans did that with their trade, with picking up CJ McCollum.
Absolutely.
And to be able to get Tony Snell and Larry Nance Jr. as well. I think that was even surprising. And honestly, I thought that they were going to have, the Pelicans, I thought they were going to have to give up more to try to make such a splash in free agency or the trade deadline stuff. So I'm happy. We'll see how it plays out in the next couple of weeks, but I definitely think we needed a little more offense, and we got it.
Well, I see two of the players that you guys traded to the Blazers. They've already been moved already again. Are
Yeah.
you hearing any buzz about the
Wow.
Philadelphia area about a certain player and a certain player from the
yeah,
Nets?
I know, right? It's James Harden or something. That
Yeah, mysteriously, he sat out yesterday. Was it hamstring injury?
3 days in a row.
Who
But
knows?
me personally,
Well,
and
that's what gets, it gets weird because some players, they start hearing their name getting thrown around and they don't want to play
I
because
told him that. That's what I told you.
for whatever either it bothers them or they don't want to get hurt or they don't like the fact that their name's
Yeah.
out there.
But see,
So,
Erin, me as the Philadelphia Sixers armchair
don't-
GM, like I don't want to invest half my team for a 32-year-old who could be a free agent next year, and we're already only a game and a half out of first place. I just don't want to
Yeah.
see them oversell for one player who has a history of being hurt.
that's the part of it that is so tricky, is because you have to look at how everyone's contracts are structured and what you need as far as cap space now versus what you're looking to get during the off season.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are moving, or GMs are moving players because of that, and it's not even something that's going to help them now. It's something that's going to play out in the future. And I
makes
don't
sense with Ben
look into
Simmons.
that stuff as much, but I hear you. There are players out there that you're like, man, this guy always hurt. Like, is it even worth it?
Oh, it's worth it.
But
I'll take
I just
him.
don't want
He's
another Jimmy.
healthy.
I don't want another Jimmy Butler issue where we sold for Jimmy Butler and then he was a free agent and he walked to Miami and then you're just like, wow, that
Yeah,
hurt.
big
That
rival.
hurt.
But you
too.
also just have Ben Simmons sitting out.
But he's hurting himself. I mean, he's already lost $19 million.
They
but-
essentially, the rumors are
Yeah.
essentially they just want Seth Curry and Ben Simmons. So we're just flipping Seth Curry for James Harden. It's like at the end of the day, who do you want?
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know.
At the end, it's also like, is Ben Simmons not only financially hurting himself, but is he hurting his draft stock or his trade stock
Yeah.
overall, right?
I
Yeah.
think he's hurting all of it. Just so you know, that's the
Yeah.
only Philly team that we like. We live in PA and we just hate all Phillies fans because
Well,
the
the
Eagles fans around here are just terrible.
The Flyers, too. We like the Flyers, but there's nothing going on in Philadelphia as far as the Flyers right now.
No.
So the Sixers are all we have to hold on to.
Now, Aaron,
It's been a fun
ahead.
squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm very curious. Have you heard anything as far as the Saints with the QB situation? Now I think the biggest thing when they were interviewing head coaches is the salary cap, right? The Saints have insane amount of salary cap hell right now. And
Yeah.
they interviewed that offensive coordinator for 8 hours. Everyone thought that might have been the guy, but we were saying Dennis Allen most of the time here. But have you heard anything about what direction they want to go with QB? Do they want to get Jameis Winston? Are they gonna try and trade? Will they give Ian Book a chance?
Yeah. So right now, they're keeping obviously Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian, Ian Book. Jameis Winston's contract was up after the year, so they would have to re-sign him, which his price point would be really good considering, as you mentioned, the cap space situation.
Yeah.
Kai Harley is the guy for us that handles all of the contracts, the financial stuff, and he's really good at restructuring contracts as need
Yep.
be. I mean, they had to do that a lot during the season because of all the injuries and people that couldn't play and having to bring in guys and COVID and whatnot. So I'm not so worried about what, everybody's like, oh my God, they're in such cap space hell and this is going to be terrible. As much as just making sure that they find the right person. The quarterback position is huge. And so is it going to be somebody they bring in? Jameis Winston might not be the guy for the long haul, but you bring him in here for a little while because this draft class isn't the strongest. You're not going to really try to find your guy this year. And they drafted a quarterback last year. And Ian Book
He's good. He's not bad.
he's good. Yeah. He got put out there in a really bad situation this year.
Yeah.
Terrible situation. And Jameis Winston might take a friendly contract for all we know. He didn't finish his season.
Right.
He was 5-2.
Right.
And there's also a guy, I don't know if you
Here we
might
go.
not know about
here
this,
it comes.
but like
Here it comes.
Arizona,
Yeah.
Kyler Murray and following all his everything on, like do you
I
make
saw
do you make a
that.
do you make a
That's-
splash? Do you make a splash?
Aaron, you've been around. That's negotiating. they said they're going to pick up his 5th-year option. He wants an extension. That's negotiation. That's all that is, right?
It's all the little tactics,
Yeah.
right? I mean, people start talking, they blow it out of proportion, sensationalize everything, social media. And And so then, yeah, the team probably gets a little more nervous that you're not going to stay and they're going to throw more money at you.
Yeah.
There's lots of different things that you can do for sure.
I mean, they're saying that the Saints are $76 million in the hole. As far as restructuring contracts, doesn't that make your dead cap hit later on down the road higher?
Yeah. So and there's players right now that we would have to resign or restructure some contracts on that are pretty big players like Malcolm Jenkins and, Teron Armstead, one of our offensive linemen.
Yeah.
So there's places where they can get some of that money back already.
And Taysom Hill's weird contract too.
Now,
yeah,
you can
that was
nod.
a big one.
You can nod yes
That
or
was
no.
the first ever.
You don't have to verbally answer this, but are quarterbacks overpriced quarterbacks of hurting the NFL and salaries and
Well, yes, we already know that. Yes, we already know
just
that's
like
true.
in Dallas,
I mean,
I'll say
but
it.
that is the most important position for your team. So
It is, absolutely, and I agree with that.
They gave him.
I don't know what else you can do.
I think his was the first fully non-guaranteed contract ever,
Oh yeah, that Taysom Hill contract, I'm pretty sure was just like a loophole out of
which is genius. It's
Yeah.
money
genius.
around.
But this is the
Absolutely.
This is how football is, though. It's just like baseball. Nobody wants to see a no-hitter. They want to see 5 home runs in a game. And it's just like football. You don't want to see a running back hit the ball 30 times like the 80s and 90s. Now you want to see a quarterback throw for 500 yards. So they're going to do everything to protect them, and now you're seeing these guys get this ridiculous money.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said, though, that the offensive line is so underrated. And I think that's what the Saints have done really well. They've had a strong offensive line this year. Unfortunately, they were injured, most of them, more often than not. But you gotta pay those guys too.
But
Ryan Ramczyk for the Saints got the biggest offensive tackle, contract ever.
He's great. And they just
They
brought in
realized that's really important.
They just brought in Doug Marrone, if that's how you say his last name. Have you heard if he's going to be the O-line coach or if they're going to use him as the offensive coordinator?
Yeah, so he has some ties to the Saints from previous times, as you mentioned, in those positions as offensive line coach. And they are trying to figure out what they want to do on the offensive side of the ball for sure. Obviously Dennis Allen is defense oriented, and he said that he still really wants to call the plays on that side of things. And he's going to have to figure out how to handle that going forward. But he did say, he wants to continue with the offense that Coach Payton had put in place. So bringing in people that are familiar with that and kind of keeping it the same, maybe a few tweaks here and there. Haven't said officially that he's coming in or what his role will be, but yeah, that is some of the reports that are out there.
I think in general in the NFL, I think you're going to see a huge fire sale for a lot of teams next year, especially because the salary cap didn't go up as much as they thought it was because of COVID. Do you see some big names potentially leaving the Saints?
I think that's kind of part of it. There are a lot of big names that have been around for a little while too, that are on the end of their careers.
Probably like Malcolm Jenkins.
At that time, they go to other teams to kind of be that veteran presence to help bring in some of the younger guys. And that's what a lot of vets or older players do. They kind of go to another team to be that leader, that voice, and to help kind of bring in some of the younger guys, help them mature. So that might happen. Other than that, I mean, there's not. Alvin Kamara is obviously a big name,
right now,
a lot of stuff going on with him. And other than that, Michael Thomas situation is still something that's up in the air. But there's not too many, big names on the offensive side of the ball that they could really couldn't stand to lose, I guess.
And I've said too, the Saints still have a team to be a playoff team. You
Absolutely.
get a quarterback in, they still have the same defense. They might move a couple guys. If Michael Thomas comes back and plays well, hopefully Alvin Kamara can come back. Who knows what the situation that he's in right now. But
I think if the Saints get Michael Thomas back healthy and you guys get a decent quarterback, very easily, especially with Tom Brady gone, and if Rodgers leaves the NFC is wide open.
Yeah, I know.
Well, the NFC South is absolutely for the taking. But,
100%.
Without Tom Brady at the Bucs, Atlanta's kind of
always down. You could say
and then the Panthers are kind of a mess right now too. So, things would have been a lot different even this year if we were able to keep, if Jameis Winston didn't get hurt, if we were able to keep
Yeah.
him at the helm for the whole year, I mean, we still beat the Bucks. So other than that, it was.
Yeah,
Well,
no, it's
I
not-
picked the Saints to win their division, and they let me down. And that's the last time I'll
Yeah.
pick them. But it seems like the coaching chopping block is getting shorter. Like you're hearing about Matt Rule, they were like talking about him being on the chopping block. You know, whatchamacallit? I can't think of his name.
What guy?
McCarthy, my own coach. Can't even think of his name. Mike
Oh, for
McCarthy.
the-
I mean, he
yeah,
just went
Cowboys.
12-4, and they're talking about him leaving and possibly Sean Payton coming there or
Yeah,
something.
okay.
But we'll see. But it just seems like the NFL is a year-to-year league, and it's changing so much.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, and
Can
I'm
we-
so ready for some new people to be brought in. I hate the whole coaching carousel of, you know, this guy gets fired here and then he goes over here for a few years
Yep.
as a coordinator or a position coach, and then he goes back to be a head coach again. I know with Matt Rule, he's somebody that they try to bring in as a new coach from college, and that's not exactly worked so well. But I don't know, just kind of be fun to have some more names in the
100%.
mix.
There's a lot of coordinators that need to get a shot.
I agree.
And
Yeah,
we talked
right.
about
Yeah.
this on Monday with the whole Rooney rule. There's plenty of
Yep.
coaches out there that need an opportunity. That you got to get rid of some of these older coaches. They got to go. That style
Yeah.
of football is long gone.
Yeah, no, and then I think that's also why with the Saints, people were hoping that they would make a splash. You know, some people were thinking it would be Eric Bieniemy, who was offensive coordinator for the Chiefs, because he's from New Orleans, and they were thinking,
Really?
yeah,
I didn't
this
know
would be
that.
a
I
great
didn't know
chance. Yeah,
Now, do you know
to
what
bring him
happened?
in.
Like, what happened? So they have an interview with him for 8 hours, and I feel like every Saints fan's thinking our 8-hour interview. You know, they might just keep Dennis Allen as the defensive coordinator. Do you know what goes into that decision, or have you heard anything like how that went?
What goes into an 8-hour interview? I mean,
Shoot, I don't know,
They,
because
they
even
show him
like
around.
Dennis Allen said that his interview was 6.5 hours, and it's like, what more do you need to know from this guy?
Yeah.
He's been with the organization for ever. So it's
Yeah.
interesting. I don't know what they do. I hope they eat. Like I would have
Yeah.
to.
That's so.
oh,
But-
that's the best place to be if you want to eat in New Orleans.
Yeah, there's.
Oh,
I'm
for
sure they
sure.
have all sorts of questions. Lots of different people that they talk to.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you're there on site, then I'm sure there's some tours that happen.
Yeah.
It's not only the owner, but the GM, the scouting personnel, different sides of the organization that at least the Saints brought around to be able to talk to the potential hirees.
Yeah.
But it seems like such a just strenuous process to go through that for 8 hours. And then, yeah, I think that's a lot of people around here were like, wait, if he was interviewing for that long, could this happen? Could
They should
this
just bring him in for the offensive
things
coordinator.
shifting to the enemy being the guy? But
Mhm.
it kind of felt like from day one, especially with the way Coach Payton mentioned Dennis Allen.
Yep.
and
Yeah, I remember
his
that. They should have just. Yeah.
retirement.
They should have just brought him
speech.
in at that point for offensive coordinator. I just a quick question. We were talking about Jameis Winston getting injured and all the quarterbacks that we went through. And I want to ask, do you know if this was true? Because there was a rumor going around that there was at one point conversation with Drew Brees possibly coming out, and it might have been for the Miami game. And then obviously they're thankful it didn't happen because we had almost our whole entire offensive line out that day. And we saw how Ian Book ran
Well,
for his
Phillip
life.
Rivers too was another one.
But this rumor that I really saw, though.
Yeah, no, Coach Payton definitely reached out to Drew Brees ahead of that Miami game.
Yeah.
And I think at another point in the season, just because after Jameis got hurt, and it just wasn't exactly working with the people that we had.
Yeah.
Viable backups, but not people that could carry the team. And I think that Coach Payton felt like they were in a position where if they had that spot solidified, then they could have been easily in the postseason and done something. But yeah, I mean,
Look, we all
Drew
had
Brees
the-
is
we
not
all-
going to come
yeah.
back and
We-
play
Correct.
We all had those
against
dreams.
against Miami with like half of the team.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know, he's not going to put himself in that position.
Especially when he's in Hawaii
Look-
enjoying time with his family.
Look, when Dak
Yeah.
broke his leg against the Giants and Romo was up in the booth calling the game, I was like, Superman's ready. Just bring him down. Put him back
Yeah.
on the field. But yeah.
How cool would that be, though? Like
Oh
that
my
would have been
God.
amazing
Yeah,
if
he's-
that
Yeah.
happened.
he still got it.
Even Philip Rivers
No.
coming back at all would be really cool. I love Philip Rivers. He's
Yeah.
always been
Brett-
fun to watch as well.
I thought they
Brett
would open.
Favre.
I thought they would God, he's a little old, Aaron. But I thought that I thought Phillip Rivers might have come, but I think they were hoping Taysom was more healthy than he was, and that's what sucks too with Taysom is I feel like Taysom finally got his chance to show everyone that he might be able to be a quarterback, and then breaks his finger, can't bend it, dealing with the foot injury.
He broke his finger, he got a concussion, and then he had like plantar fasciitis or fascia or whatever it's called.
Plantar fasciitis.
So he was beat up all different ways this past season. That was kind of the name of the game for the Saints.
Yeah, I mean he's 7-2 as a starter though. I feel like that's got to count for something.
Yeah, he's a viable option. I mean, he's not going to be running up the offensive numbers. You're not going to have like a 500-yard game with him at the helm, but
he might run for that.
He can manage a game.
Now, Aaron, do you just focus on the Saints or do you listen to reports all over the NFL? Because there's rumors out there, depending on what Tampa Bay does this offseason, Tom Brady left that door cracked just a little bit. And that if they make a big splash, he might come back.
That's so weird.
I think on his podcast this past week or something, he mentioned, kind of left it out there that he might be coming back at some point. I think for people like that is you get to a point where, you're tired or you think maybe it's time, but then they start missing it.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're talking about guys, that's all they do. And even for Coach Payton, like literally eats, breathes, sleeps football. And I think that he's going to be twiddling his thumbs pretty soon, not knowing what to do with himself. And they have to get the itch to come back.
But the thing about Tom is he's 44 years old, but he had his best statistical season ever. And he threw 43 touchdowns. The last time he did that was 2007.
What better way to leave, though?
Just, oh, God, I don't know.
He still needs a line, too, though, at the end of the day, because he's not mobile. Rodgers can still scramble out of the pocket, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think you have to look at that, too. Like, what is the team going to be like this next year? Well, who's going to be around me? Who are my, my options on the offense? And
they're losing a lot. People. They're losing a lot.
Well, what do you think is going to happen with the quarterback carousel? Like Rodgers and Russell Wilson. People are saying that it was either going to be Russell staying or Pete Carroll staying, so they seem committed to Pete Carroll. Are you hearing any rumblings about quarterbacks on the move? You can break news.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's going to be those two guys for sure that are going to be moving somewhere. I think people are talking about, Rodgers is building a house in Nashville, so that's where he's going to go, right? Like, we were talking about the Instagram stuff where, you unfollow a team and people read into that. So that's another thing people are reading into. People have talked about Russell coming here if the price is right. They think that he'd fit into the offense.
I think I said that.
Yeah.
No, I said the Broncos. I said Russell to the Broncos for some reason.
I think Russell to the Saints for the right price would turn that franchise like sky high. Right? Like obviously, I feel like he always replicated Drew Brees. He always gave praise to Drew Brees because he's a small guy like Drew. I'm not gonna get into I'm just gonna get excited for nothing. But Aaron, I wanted to ask you, this is your first year with the Saints with the Pelicans. How was it? Did you enjoy it? Ups and downs, anything like that?
Yeah, it's insane covering two professional teams when they're in season at the same time. Because, there's weekends or weeks where, you have 5 basketball games and an NFL game, and it's just busy, and mentally. There's no time to do anything else, which is fine. I can't complain about the content of my job at all, but it's a lot to stay on top of. Yeah. You guys talk about trying to keep up with the rest of the league and see what else is going on out there. Sometimes it's literally who the teams are playing that week are the only things that I can kind of pay attention to. Yeah. So it gets busy. It gets a lot to try to keep things straight sometimes, but it's a lot of fun to be able to go to these practices and walk in and say, this is my office is where I work every day. Yeah.
Do you have take a friend to work day? Because I'd like to come down.
Oh my gosh, I brought my mom with me earlier this year. She came to a Saints game with me, and I brought her up in the press box and stuff. And she was sitting there reading, all the press clippings and stuff, the stat packs that they give you. And she's like, this is so interesting. This is so fun. This is what you get to do all the time. And she was pretty funny, but
it's my bucket list to get down there for a game.
Now, do you see the Pelicans doing anything else before the trade deadline?
There's been some rumblings that they're still talking to people. And I think that that's the way you got to do it. You got to continue to see what is out there, what options are being presented, and see if it makes your team better, right? Right now, I think that they would be very happy with the way things ended up, even with the trade that they did with Portland. You know, there were talks even at that point that they were trying to bring in another team to do an additional move with, I think Atlanta was the team that was getting thrown around. So, you know, they're going to continue to talk to people and see if they can make any moves to make the team better. But right now, I think things look pretty good.
Well, Erin, I only have one more question for you. And my thing,
You're gonna steal it.
I lived in New Orleans, and what do you think of the city? I mean, what do you think of Mardi Gras? What do you think of beignets? What do you think of red beans? What do you just think of it? I mean, I loved it.
Okay, I love New Orleans. I love it. And I don't even think I've really gotten to experience it that much, but everybody here is so nice. And I feel like people are generally in good moods. It's usually pretty fun. The atmosphere is good. It's been great. Everybody's been very welcoming. I've enjoyed it a lot. There's, yes, a lot of great places to get food from. I love beignets. I have had a few different kinds of king cake. So I've done that. That started, a couple weeks ago, early January. And I didn't really understand it at the time because people were, talking about it being like the first day of king cakes. And I didn't realize you couldn't get them all the time. Mm-hmm. But they are very good. So I've done that. Mardi Gras. We'll see. Right?
Mardi Gras crazy.
It's coming up and it's going to fall. It kind of goes into around All-Star break. So it is a good time for me. I'll be able to be here and not really have to be working. And
that's nice.
And actually be a street reporter for one of the parades, for one of the TV stations down here and stuff. So I'm going to be involved in some of the coverage and then also be able to go as, just kind of
the only thing you got to remember is it's not New Orleans, it's New Orleans, and you can't say you guys, you got to say you all.
And I say y'all coming from North Carolina, so I hope that's okay.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Oh man! Now, Erin, don't you also you host the Saints podcast, don't you? You also help out with the Pelicans.
Yeah. So I do host the Saints podcast. So during the season that comes out 3 times a week.
That's a busy schedule.
Now, it comes out twice a week until things ramp back up. But that's another thing to try to keep on top of, as you guys know, trying to book guests and stay on a schedule is difficult. I don't know. We never release it at the same time. It's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but it varies based on when we can get our guests that day.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Or we try to do it the day before, but it's
check
hard.
it out.
Everybody's busy, right? So it's like trying to ask for 15 minutes of somebody's time. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's tough.
It definitely is.
Wow, you have one crazy schedule. Maybe feel bad now for taking up 30 minutes of your time.
Oh no, I'm fine. It's an off day today. We didn't have anything going on, so.
Good.
Ace, do you have any last questions before we let her go?
Well, nobody's asked about Zion, surprisingly. Does he have a timetable, I guess, of when he'd return, or?
So last time we heard anything about Zion was, early December, when he said that he was going to go do his rehab and working out and everything on his own in Portland, ironically, and went there with the trainer to do that. They said they were going to give us an update, about 6 weeks or so, which is right around where we're at right now. So hopefully we'll be getting some news soon. It's a tough situation because definitely not going the way that anybody wanted, right? Not the way he wanted it to go. The organization certainly didn't think they would not have him at this point still.
And you guys are a borderline playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, we're in right now.
Yeah, you're at the 10th seed right now.
7.
The way Ingram's playing, you got CJ McCollum. It's just, that'd be huge to get Zion back.
To get him back would be huge.
It would be very helpful. Right now, I think that we could move into the 9. We could even move into the 8th spot, which would be really cool if things play out, kind of overcome the Clippers, because we have the tiebreaker with them. And if we were able to do that, then you're guaranteed at least 2 games postseason.
Look, the thing about Zion is in the offseason, you got to move him to Alaska. You can't stay in New Orleans in the offseason. There's too much good food down in New Orleans. He's got to go elsewhere. Tell him to come up
Shoot,
here.
I'm having the same problem, man. I can't. We have like the cafeteria that are on campus, like with the facility, we get to go in and eat the same stuff that the players get to eat. And there's tons and tons of food and desserts and all different things every day. And I'm like, I'm not carb loading. I'm not going to go work this off in like an hour.
Smart.
So shoot, there's a lot of stuff I got to avoid around here.
That just led me into another question. Do you travel with the team now with all the stuff that was going on with COVID? Like, you still see broadcasters that are still broadcasting from home. Are you going with the team and traveling?
Yeah, so I go with the Pelicans to travel. I didn't travel for any of the Saints games, but I do travel to a lot of the Pelicans games, which is a very fun, very different experience. Being able to fly private and go with the team, and everything's just very easy. It's set up for you. You show up, you pull up, you park right next to the plane, and you walk on.
Oh, wow.
And there's no security really, and then
Sweet.
you get to the next airport, you get right on a bus, and they take you to a hotel and hand you your hotel key. No check-in, no nothing, and there's food everywhere along the way in case you need anything.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I mean it's not a bad way to have to travel.
Not at all.
All right, well, who do you have in the Super Bowl?
Ooh.
I want the Bengals to win.
Yeah,
I really do.
Hooday.
Yeah.
I've been
So,
picking them
we'll
as an
see.
underdog.
I honestly said the other night, I really don't care who wins. I mean, I think
a good Super Bowl.
both teams have great stories. I think this is
sure.
I think this is the Rams' only really shot. I think they're going to be in trouble with contracts after this season. So to me, it doesn't matter. I just hope it's a good game. I'm more excited for the halftime show.
It's gonna be a crazy halftime show.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yep.
I have no idea what to expect, but I love all of the people performing. So it should be pretty fun. But I just want a good game.
Yeah.
I'm not so much a commercials person. I don't think they've been that great for a little while.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Definitely. I'm looking forward to a good
See, I got a
game.
little taste of Dr. Dre on Sunday. He performed at the NASCAR race out at the Coliseum. So it's going to be good. It's going to be real good. I'm just wondering how many F-bombs they're going to drop, and forget that, they can't drop those.
Right. Are we even going to be able to hear any of the performance? Because it's going to be like beep, beep,
Yeah.
beep, beep.
Just
Yeah.
put like
No,
a
it'll-
warning. Just put like a warning on the screen and just say like profanity is about to happen. Let it
Pre-recorded or pre-recorded.
There's
So-
going to be a 20-minute delay instead of a 20-second delay or
Yeah.
something. But, yeah.
All right, Aaron, we want to say thank you so much
Thank
for
you
just
very
joining
much.
us tonight. We know you have a busy week, and for
Yeah, absolutely.
giving us some
I
insight.
really appreciate it. Happy to do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
anything
Maybe during
comes
the
up,
season. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're gonna stay on. We're gonna talk a little about some sports stuff, but you can go do your things. But again, we thank you for just
Thank you very
breaking some
much.
Saints with us, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you
Thank you,
guys. I
Erin.
appreciate it. You
All
guys
right.
have a good rest of the evening and the week.
Thank
you.
you.
Enjoy
the Super
too.
Bowl.
Yeah.
Yes.
You too. Have a good one.
Bye.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.
See, I love interviews like that.
That was
really
great.
do.
That was great. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Erin. Erin Summers. Check out the podcast. She does the Saints podcast. She helps with the Pelicans podcast. That was the first time we had
On all platforms.
on all platforms.
Yeah.
That was great because, and we talk about this every time. I feel like every interview we get is different lately. We had a cheerleader on last time. We got to view that. Now we have I didn't know, right, for a broadcast like this, an interviewer, she can't break certain stuff until the team gives her permission.
Yeah. that's
But then you
crazy.
have people like Ian Rappaport and other people that they can drop that stuff whenever.
Aren't. Yep, they're
Yeah,
not
but
affiliated
Ian
with the
Rapp,
team.
yeah,
they just have the
he's
sources.
Yeah.
affiliated with ESPN, so it's different. I mean, you're reporting for that team. But I wonder how it would be like if she found out news about another team, if she's allowed to break that or not.
I don't know.
But
Or maybe do you just make a fake account and you break
Yeah.
you break news anyway? But
Yeah.
what if
With a bogus-
she's the
But,
inside source for one of those guys?
But what if she knew
Correct.
the story?
That's what I was thinking.
What if she knew the story and she
Chess.
reported to the
Chess.
Saints and somebody else reported her story and didn't give her the
yeah.
yeah.
The local reporters are playing chess above the Ian Rappaports that cover more at a national stage,
Well,
probably.
Ian Rappaport got lucky because
Um,
they shot that episode Tom Brady. The man in the
That
arena
wasn't
or
Ian
whatever.
Rappaport. Was that dropped that? Wasn't it someone else?
I think it was Ian Rappaport.
No, it wasn't Ian Rappaport.
I don't know. But anyway, ESPN, they were shooting that last episode where he was supposed to announce his retirement. Somebody saw the episode when they were recording it, released that to somebody, and then next thing you know, it's whispered down the alley and it got reported. I think it was Ian Rappaport that
No, it
that
was
did
the other guy. I feel like I need to get some Dallas or Minnesota insiders now for you guys, because it was cool to see some, like, I feel like we're being lucky with Saints organization people. Like when she was talking about who handles the.
I'm gonna try to get Jerry Jones on the show.
That'd be pretty cool.
I would love to have her on more regularly too. Like honestly,
yeah,
this could end up being
she
like
was
a regular
able to
contact
she
of the
was able
season
to
too,
talk about
potentially.
she was able to talk about all kinds of stuff with us. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, she knew some stuff. Like when she was talking about for the Saints who breaks down the contracts and redoes, I thought that was all Mickey Loomis.
Maybe she can get us on the Saints
Mm-hmm.
podcast. We'll get those guys on from Philadelphia in that area.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, two guys and father son from Philadelphia.
She'll be like,
One of them's a
she'll
huge
be like,
Saints fan.
she'll be like
Nah,
two
no,
guys and the
pass.
one dad.
It's father sons. We're all family
Yeah,
here.
fathers.
Father sons.
Oh
but
my gosh.
but I love podcasting. I really do. I love getting the scoop. I love getting the behind the scenes
Gosh,
of what
that's
it's
good.
like.
It's very educational. Oh, we could talk about it now. We could talk about, speak of the Saints, the whole Alvin Kamara situation. I didn't want to. I didn't know if she could before she came on. We obviously didn't know what we could talk about, what we couldn't talk about. But Alvin Kamara's in trouble, man, and it hurts.
The video released.
It hurts.
He's in trouble.
Is the video released?
Well, they supposedly
It will.
The police seen the video and said that everything he said didn't match up, and it's just a matter of time before TMZ gets it.
Now, so for those that don't know, Alvin Kamara was in Las Vegas, obviously. Now this happened before the Pro Bowl.
I heard he got arrested at the game.
No. So the police, they knew about it. They told the teams about it. They let him play, and then they arrested him. I don't know if it was in the locker room.
I thought
or
I saw him
after.
in the game.
Yeah, he played. They let him play. They knew about it, but no one else knew about it.
Yeah.
The players didn't know about it, right? So this is what happened. Apparently, he was, in Vegas for the Pro Bowl before the game, and probably drinking a little bit. I don't know
This
the
is
story.
like 5:30 at night.
I don't know the story. I don't think no one officially knows it until they release everything. But supposedly, some guy wanted to get an elevator with them. He punched the guy in the face. His crew punched them. They stomped on them.
With him. I guess
they beat
his
the
crew.
crap out of this guy.
From what I heard, his crew hit him
No.
first, and then Alvin punched him like 6 times.
Yeah, he has a broken orbital.
And then one of the guys supposedly stomped him 16 times in his face.
Dude, like how you not
The
die?
reason, well, in another part to that, I heard that the person that the victim filed from the hospital too. So that's why it was like, because I think it happened overnight or like sometime early in the morning.
I heard
Yeah,
5:30
He
at
got
night.
arrested.
It was late, I think. I think it was early in the morning that he went to the game that
I
night.
don't know. Our stories all over
Or
the
maybe-
place. But
yeah,
all I know is,
whatever
is
the- yeah.
my thing is if you have an entourage, let them do the beating.
Or just don't do it at all.
Yeah.
Just don't. Yeah, like what's
Yeah.
the point? And here, shame on the NFL. You had this in Hawaii. Why'd you have to change the location?
A lot of
It's like
people
the
saying
best
that. That's
time.
exactly
Go
what
back
it
to
was.
Hawaii, put everybody on
In
the island.
Vegas.
It's exactly what a lot of people are saying. Look, this is a great example of having it lost. Number one, it's
You
like,
don't want
I'm
to mess.
sick.
You don't want to mess around in Vegas, though. You don't want to get arrested in Vegas.
I am sick and tired of these athletes ruining their opportunities, right? Like this doesn't just hurt you.
Yeah.
This doesn't just hurt him, right? This hurts your fans and your organization. He's the best player in the Saints right now, hands down, right? That's our best player.
I just wonder what kind of a suspension he's looking for. Is it a year?
No,
Is it
no,
6 games?
But will he go to jail?
He could for assault.
Like technically.
Well, I'm
like,
sure they're looking at the video and see what they're going to charge him with.
Like
It's
even
assault.
if he only punched the guy twice and his entourage stomped him, like
Look,
can he go to jail? I mean, that's
He-
a typical human being goes to jail for that.
he's gonna. Oh God, it depending on how they charge him. If they charge him
That's
with just
why.
if they charge him with simple assault, it's a misdemeanor. But if they charge him like aggravated assault, which I don't think you can because unless they consider the guy's foot a weapon.
No matter what, he's
You
gonna get
know,
suspended at least half a season.
I mean, you stomped on the guy, you kicked the guy. Several guys kicked him when he was down, which is going to be the damning part. If Alvin was a part of that, I would say he's going to be suspended for the whole season. He's
Yeah.
going to do jail time.
and that's crazy.
Now, I don't know what
Yeah,
his
he's likely
previous,
to
if he has a
it.
previous record.
I'm
I mean,
gonna-
it's
Now,
going to be.
I hope this doesn't sound mean to me, but like as much as like he's part of my team and I like him, like he should have to do jail time, right? Like I don't want to see like athletes should not have this. What's the word I'm looking for?
Power.
This power to just be like, I'm an athlete, like just kind of like, here's
Wipe
here's
it under the rug.
yeah, here's $10,000. I'll pay my fine. Let me go play football. Like me, you, or Erin. Like if one of us, if we together, if we
Oh, we're
jumped
in
a
jail
man,
already.
if
We're in
we
jail.
if we jumped a man
We're
and
in jail
stomped
waiting
on
for
him,
a
and
trial.
we
Or
are in
waiting for
jail.
to see a
Number
judge.
one, we don't got $5,000 to
Yeah.
post bond, post bail, whatever it is. Like, and it just makes me sad because Alvin Kamara, he's been a quiet guy in the field. You never see him involved in media. Like he's big into NASCAR. He does all this stuff with charity, and then this happens.
You see too much of it. I just don't understand why athletes just don't put themselves in a bubble. You know what I mean?
I lose respect, man.
The thing is you gotta, as an athlete, you gotta know in your mind there's cameras everywhere.
I'd be at home playing Fortnite.
Everybody has phones. Everyone has cameras. Elevators have cameras now. You have to be smart. You know, why would you even put yourself in that situation? Same with rugs. I mean, the NFL offers a car service. So what? You have to use the car service because you've been drinking too much. You're still playing in the NFL.
I just think people forget where they grew up from and where they got.
Yeah. It's just you see too much of it.
Yeah.
But me personally, you know, I think there should be zero tolerance on any sport, any player. If you get in trouble and you know you're representing our NFL, NBA, MLB, I think zero tolerance. I think one time you're done. There's plenty of people that want to get their shot in these sports. How many thousands of players get drafted in baseball that don't get their shot?
He's just chilling on our wall.
So there's plenty.
I gotta look
there's
at him on
enough
the wall.
talent.
There's plenty of people that want an opportunity, so I think it should be zero tolerance across the board. Zero.
Guys, I have to drop here. I did not think we'd be on this long, but my girlfriend is coming over in a few minutes.
Oh, sexy time.
Oh, Erin.
Sexy
No,
time.
not so much that.
You guys
I didn't say
this?
sex.
You guys
I said
do this?
sexy time.
Hey,
Hey, it's
Valentine's.
National Pizza Day. It's National Pizza Day,
It
so we're
is.
getting pizza. I wanted to ask her.
I had hot dogs.
That was going
Do
to
we
be
just
our
end, do we
last
just end it here?
question.
Do we just end it here?
Yeah, we just ended it here.
Yeah, we'll just end it here. It was a great interview. It was a
Great
great
interview.
We're not gonna leave without you, Erin. Come on.
What about
now.
the
Yeah,
stats?
you can't just fall
Whoa,
out.
we
you know?
got stats for next
Yeah,
week. Come
you
on.
can't fall out.
This is a team effort.
This
Erin.
is team.
This is your lady
Sexy
night.
time can win.
Fair,
Come on,
fair.
You got to snuggle and cuddle
Come on,
before
come
sexy
on.
time.
just some news real quick. Gronkowski.
Just remember, you two. Sexy time leads to marriage. You know.
Ooh. Gronkowski might go to the Bengals, guys. I don't know if you saw that. I don't know if you saw that.
Anyway,
Breaking
this will be up on all
news, breaking-
platforms as soon as Ty and Erin do their jobs.
Yeah. I don't even know if we're gonna put the last one on YouTube. I got it to Erin late, and we have this beautiful interview now. I don't know if you guys want to just skip that one. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that
combine them
later.
both.
We'll talk about that
we
later.
know
I
it's
was going to
definitely
make them
not going.
separate episodes.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
so
I
I'll
don't-
make
I-
them separate.
yeah, I don't
We
wanna
know it's
combine
definitely
them.
not going up tonight.
I don't want to combine them. But don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We've been really working hard on graphics and looking more professional. Facebook page, we have it all. TikTok. Check it all out, guys. We love the support. We thank you guys for watching. And we'll see you guys next time. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
God bless.